Hello, everyone. My name is Steven. I'm in the fourth year PharmD program at MCPHS, and I serve as VP Policy for APhA ASP. And we have two guest speakers today, special ones. We have Mr. Dinno joining us, and we have Dr. Kaur. Would you mind just giving us a brief background on each other? I would like to start off with Mr. Dinno.
Sure. Thank you so much, Steven, for having us, both of us today. My name is Saad Dinno. I'm an independent pharmacist owner of 4 locations in Acton, Massachusetts, Concord, Massachusetts, Lexington, Massachusetts, and Newton, Massachusetts. It's a family-owned business. My brother, my father, my son, who's just graduated from Mass College of Pharmacy last May.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, he's a 3rd-generation pharmacist, and I have many cousins, and my wife is a pharmacist as well. So we become a family of pharmacists. But all of us have graduated from Massachusetts College of Pharmacy. I'm a 1993 graduate of Massachusetts College of Pharmacy, Boston. As I said, I'm an independent pharmacy owner. I love taking care of patients. That's what we do on a daily basis. And I'm the current president of the Massachusetts Pharmacy Association. I have served on many other. I still serve and have served on many committees that are for pharmacy, whether it's compounding pharmacy, whether it's I also served as the president of Massachusetts Independent Pharmacy Association, about 10-15 years ago, and I'm still on that board. And I think we'll get into as to why we as pharmacists need to get involved in advocacy, and not just advocacy, but also be members of associations, of pharmacy associations, because it's so important for us to protect our profession, do what's best for our profession. Mm-hmm. And I think through advocacy and involvement is the only way, shape, or form that this will happen. And
that's great to hear.
Introduce herself a little bit as well. She's one of my staff. She's on my team, and she's an important part of our team. And Silky, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you again, Stephen, for having us. So my name is Silky Kaur. I am also a graduate of MCP 2020, so just a little bit after Saad, not too long. So I've also been in independent pharmacy. Luckily, I feel so blessed that I'm part of this side of pharmacy. I've been since I was in my last year of high school. So it's almost been 10 years that I've been involved in independent pharmacy. And I have the pleasure for working for Saad and his brother across his 4 locations, as well as a 5th pharmacy, the one that I've been part of since I was in high school. So back in my hometown. So I split my work week across those places, and love it so much because it's so much variety. Independent pharmacy and the care we provide is high quality. So I feel very proud in my work and what we do. So I'm technically like a clinical pharmacist. I do more of the clinical things. So medication therapy management, vaccinations, any independent consults, things like that, as well as work the bench too. So that's an important part of our work. So I did complete a community-based residency after I finished school. So I did that for 1 year from 2021 to 22, beginning of 22, with Walgreens and MCP Boston. So stayed in the area, and we kind of focused on traditional community practice, specialty pharmacy, primary care. So like diabetes care, I was in a clinic 1 day a week, and then academia too, so teaching. And ever since I've been a student, I have been very involved with pharmacy associations. So just like yourself, I commend you for being involved so early on. It only brings benefit, in my opinion, like where I see myself now. I haven't even been a pharmacist too long, but being involved has really allowed me to see, what we can do for our profession as we work in it, stay involved, stay informed, and starting as being a student, the connections you make, networking, that type of thing can only gain you opportunities in the future. So we'll kind of touch on that all throughout as we talk throughout why it's important. So.
Wow, that's great to hear from both of you guys. You guys it's very overwhelming to hear this even as a student. So I don't know how you're able to balance all that.
Well, there's a famous saying that, and I think that maybe your colleagues will take away from, is that don't be, I heard this many years ago at an advocacy meeting. And that, no matter what profession you are, but especially here, we're talking about pharmacy, don't be on the menu, but be at the table, right? Which means, it's a saying that, which means, don't be part of the talk, in the sense of don't let people talk about what you want to do, but advocate for yourself. Be at the table with legislators, be on the table with those that are decision makers, because otherwise decisions are going to be made on your behalf instead of you being part of the discussion. People are going to make decisions, based on what they think is best for you. So be at the table, don't be part of the menu. Don't be on the menu, but don't be on the menu, but be at the table, meaning
Okay.
you have to lead the discussion. Don't let the discussion be about you hearing it from others. Let people, which in this case, legislators and those policymakers that are making decisions, hear you out, make sure they understand your job, make sure that they understand what you do on a daily basis, taking care of your community, and more importantly, your patients that walk in through the door or call you on the phone or you're delivering to. Those are their constituents that you are taking care of. And they need to hear from you, from your mouth, not from someone else telling them what you do on a daily basis.
Gotcha. Is that why that kind of like sparked your interest into like policy and like advocacy?
Yeah. So, for me, I've been, I started my involvement with Massachusetts Independent Pharmacy Association because that's who represented me. And through my career, now it's almost 30 years, it's that, I wanted to be part of, again, I wanted to be heard. I had older mentors that took me along and taught us, the younger pharmacists that were part of the association, why advocacy is so important. And I think it goes to I'm going to sound like a little broken record with this. Don't be on the menu, but at the table. And that, you have to advocate for yourself and for your profession. And, then I started joining I'm a compounding pharmacist as well. So I started going to, all these meetings that we're talking about compounding. And then now, with all the, pharmacy benefit managers talk and, legislations that are, kind of honing in on patient access and understanding that part of the business, we have to, go and teach our legislators what the impact of these companies has on pharmacy and our patient access and patient care. And, it's all about outcomes, right? If our patients don't have good outcomes, then every sector of the healthcare has failed. So we as pharmacists have proven ourselves, Stephen, and I'm sure, through the COVID vaccination programs and COVID testing and prescribing and et cetera, we've been, we highlighted ourselves. We put ourselves on a pedestal because people recognize what we can do. We vaccinated millions and millions of people across the country as pharmacists, as pharmacy technicians, as pharmacy interns. So that had an impact on overall
healthcare,
but overall view of us as we are truly now healthcare providers. Whether some people like it or some people don't, we are healthcare providers. We provide healthcare on a daily basis to the communities we serve, not just here at retail establishments, but at hospitals, at clinics, et cetera, across the country. So, that's why I got involved. I wanted to protect my profession. I wanted to protect my profession for my patients. And that's why I got involved. I'll just share this with you. I'm next week, I'm going to Washington for 2 days to advocate on behalf of National Community Pharmacy Association. Silky will be going with me as well, and many other independent pharmacists here in Massachusetts, with joining pharmacists from all across the country on those 2 days, the 26th and 27th, to advocate for a cause, to protect our business, to protect independent pharmacy. And then 3 weeks later, I'm going back to Washington, D.C. to advocate for, on behalf of, compounding pharmacists across the country, to protect that aspect of the business, because that's important to me as well. But there's also, MSHP and ASHP and,
All the
American
orgs, yeah.
Pharmacists Association, right? They have a fly-in to Washington, DC. And, that gets done, for purpose, because we want to be, again, at the table, not on the menu.
Right.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yep.
You were saying?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna echo everything Saad said, like why it's important to be involved, and especially you can attest to this, right? Stephen, like all these years of schooling that you go through, you want to be able to practice at the top of your license. So a lot of that involves, making sure it's allowed, all the clinical training we go through, and it's recognized and we get, reimbursed properly for those services. So there's not a very clear structure out there on how pharmacists can get paid for, like, say, these additional clinical services that now we're able to participate in. So for us to be able to do that and really, like, get paid for our time and services, you have to kind of be involved in the legislature and prove to people that you can do this stuff. And like Saad said, that COVID really kind of highlighted us with all the vaccinations, testing, and prescribing and things like that. So that's why it's important to get involved, because it affects you directly, right? So your profession and you being able to practice the way you want, you don't want to ever, like, you can't complain later if you're not getting involved yourself, so that's kind of going back to be at the table, right? So same kind of idea. So but that's kind of how it started for me as well. It was actually through the Independent Pharmacists Association. I attended a meeting and it kind of just kickstarted from there. You get to network and then you just kind of get pulled in these directions to learn about what bills are being placed and how you can advocate for them, what you can do tangibly to make a difference and things like that. So.
And sorry, Stu, I know you have a little agenda, but I just want to reiterate that it's not just in Washington, DC. We also have to advocate for ourselves at the state level, right? So, back in October of 2022, obviously the State House was closed. So we had a virtual, Pharmacy Day meeting, right? It just happened to coincide with Pharmacist Week. And we had over 200 people attend this, this call to highlight pharmacy, to work to show what we've done, and also at the same time advocate, because there were legislators on those phone calls. Many of them attended, and their aides were on those phone calls as well, listening to what pharmacy did in general. Again, whether it's hospital, clinical, community, clinical, etc. And it was wonderful to see. And that took a collaboration of many pharmacy associations, right? It took a Mass Pharmacy Association, MSHP, MCPHS, the Chain Council. So it was a true collaboration to highlight pharmacy in general. So it's not just in Washington, DC that matters. That's more of a federal, aspect, but locally here. And we have through that aspect, through that meeting, one of our goals as the associations was to form a pharmacy caucus, and that was finally done. The first
I heard about that, yeah, from Dr. Lapointe, exactly.
Right, exactly. For Dr. Lapointe, she's playing instrumental. She's being a major aspect of helping the association do what needs to be done, and to highlight what we have done, and to showcase the pharmacy and take care of the association. That caucus was formed, and the first meeting was held about 3 weeks ago, and that involved legislators. And again, this pharmacy caucus purpose is to have legislators that are what we call our champions. These are legislators that we could go to bring to their attention any pharmacy bill or any pharmacy matter that we need their support and help with. And that's why through this, I ask all the students, if they're from Massachusetts, to contact the legislators, so that their legislators, whether senators or representatives, are part of this caucus. And whether it's a Democrat, Republican, Independent, it doesn't matter. This is an important caucus representing us. So that was a thing that was formed through collaboration of many pharmacy associations. representing many villages of pharmacy. And that's the beauty of pharmacy, right? There's so many villages that you can go into.
The small world is what they always say here.
Correct.
Gotcha. I kind of just want to piggyback off of what you said in terms of just the caucus, and then what are just other like current initiatives or policy IOCs that are happening in Massachusetts so far?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of it, I mean, I just got an email, this morning from my colleague, that kind of represents the pharmacy at the State House. And on May 2nd, at 10 a.m., the Committee on Financial Services is going to hear over 30 bills that are pharmacy related, right? So it's either from PBM reforms to specialty drug access, where it doesn't need to be mail order. It could be it can be established. That medication could happen at a retail level, or clinical level, or community level. To a patient to ensuring patient have access to medications through other many services. To like there's an S1425, a bill that was filed by MSHP and MPSC. To allow pharmacists, based on Board of Pharmacy regulations, etc., some prescriptive authority in the sense of emergency situations that arise, whether it's strep or flu, collaboratively working with a physician, again under Board of Pharmacy regulations, to allow us to perhaps give a 24 or longer or a course of antibiotic, that way the condition is taken care of sooner than later. As we know, there's having access these days is tough, especially after COVID. And customers on average see us more than 35 times a year, compared to perhaps seeing their physicians or their practitioners 2 to 3 times a year, because we're accessible. That's the beauty of pharmacists, community and otherwise, is that we're accessible. And so hopefully this bill S1425 will make it through. It might have some hurdles from some associations and some practices, but we're hoping that it will get through. And like I said, there's other ones that are focused on generics and reimbursements and PBM reform. So just this session, just at this meeting from 10 to 1, they hope to hear over 30 bills that are pharmacy specific.
Wow, that's a lot. 30.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's we hope to get through most of it, and let's see what happens. Our goal is to get it from committee out to the legislators so they can hear it and vote on it.
Yeah, and I think everybody generally has an idea of how the legislature works, and it's not like a 1-2 day type of thing. It's a very long time. It takes time from the beginning to end, but it is important to make sure your legislators know that it's an important bill to you, right? Like you as a pharmacy student, or us as a pharmacist, or just the pharmacy profession in general. And how do they know that? It's that if they hear noise around the bill, right? Like if they hear about it, it comes up in front of them again and again, and they're like, okay, this is important to the people I serve. And so how does that happen? So it's more about reaching out, obviously, to your legislators. Grassroots advocacy. I'm sure, Stephen, you kind of know what that is, right? Grassroots advocacy is
if you don't mind just explaining it to everyone else, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I think the general, I might not be fully correct either, but around the term in general is that you're planting a seed so that it can root out to the legislators by you making noise. So like reaching out via email, phone call, or visiting your legislators or something like that. So a lot of these pharmacy associations might have an advocacy center. So does Mass Pharmacists Association, which Saad and I represent. So he's the president, I'm on the board. So for that, we do have a full advocacy center. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry. Okay, so there's like templates created so that we make it easier for constituents and pharmacy members and everything like that to reach out to legislators. Basically, pre-formed emails or messages that can be sent out to legislators with your name attached to it, allowed for you to edit or add in anything that's important to you, but highlighting that particular bill that's been filed and why it's important to you. So the reason that we say that, it's important to stay involved is exactly that, is so that you kind of make noise around these bills so that your legislators kind of hear it and know. Even for us telling our patients, that, okay, this is important to us. If you want to continue, using our services, or if you want us to expand on our services, it's important that they hear from their constituents. So, all these types of advocacy efforts would only help. So like Saad said, so many bills have been filed, and these 30 bills have probably gotten through or even into the legislature because there's been made a lot of noise around them. So
I mean, it's anything in life is relationships. So, whether it's you're at a community pharmacy, you're building a relationship with your patients and trust. Same thing with your legislators, right? It's the same concept. You want those legislators, when there's a pharmacy issue that comes up, to reach out to you and get your opinion on things and get your thoughts on things. And if you don't have an answer, at least you go to your association and say, hey, my legislator is reaching out to me on this matter. What should I tell him or her? And I mean, one part of advocacy as well is that I attend a lot of fundraisers for legislators, whether it's virtual or in person. I get invite them to my store, to my pharmacy, so they can see what we do, because they have a lot. Remember, they have a lot of constituents, right? It's not just you're not the only constituent there. So pharmacy is not the only things that matter to them. Zillion of other things. People, they get to see people left and right on a daily basis. You just have to be there for them when there's a question about pharmacy, and that only develops through relationships. You can't just go once or twice or three times. Just like anything else, you're going to keep knocking on the door, and you don't give up, because at some point, these 30 bills are going to be heard, and they're going to need your opinion on it.
mm-hmm.
I agree. At some point, if you keep on being persistent, they'll have to listen to you.
Correct.
So since you gave out so many, I would say, reasons for students to just join or be very advocate on certain policies, I just wanted to ask you, what are some initiatives for them to get involved?
So great question. So to me, some students say, well, I want to wait till I graduate to get involved. I would say, no, freshman year in college is when you get involved, because, you learn, right? Somebody like you, Stephen, who's been involved in the pharmacy, that your pharmacy chapter that you're representing, right? You learn, so if you're a freshman and there's a fourth year or fifth year student there that could, kind of walk you through it, it's much better. And at the same time, it doesn't, just because you graduate, it doesn't end there. That's just the beginning. That's the seed that Silky talked about, right? A seed with your legislators, this is a seed for your profession. I encourage students to get involved no matter what, whether you're in Massachusetts or California or Hawaii or wherever. There's associations across the country in every state. Get involved, please. Every association needs members, every single one. And don't assume that someone else, just because I'm sitting on my, on the bench working, that somebody else is going to represent me. Don't assume that, please. Okay, get involved no matter what, and represent the profession, because like I said, I'm going to go back again, don't be on the menu, be at the table, because that's the most important thing, is that you don't want decisions being made for you when you had no input on that decision. And I think that's where sometimes we fail, whether it's pharmacy or otherwise, is that we sit back and assume that somebody else is going to do the work for us and going to be representing us. And that could be true. There's always the 80-20 rule, right? We understand that, but get involved. Please get involved. Be members of the association. Yes, I know maybe sometimes it costs money here and there, but that money is going to a good cause. These associations, no matter who they are representing the profession. So get involved from day one.
Absolutely. I agree. And honestly, it's real life proof, because, me, myself, and you yourself, Stephen, right? As students, I had been heavily involved as a student. And because of that, I built many relationships. I stayed informed. I'm able to participate in legislation and, think I'm making a difference, right? Making some noise and things like that. And now I can say okay, some of the changes that do come about, I feel like, I've been heavily informed and maybe had a little bit of a hand in it. And, I won't ever be able to say that, like I'm not going to complain about this because I did stay involved, like, all that
Mhm.
type of stuff. But definitely stay involved as a student, start from freshman year if you can. That's great. In all these associations like yours, APhA. The other thing is staying informed through like newsletters and from the associations and stuff. So as a student myself, I started signing up with newsletters. So like particularly APhA or even your state ones, MPHA, MSHP, and even like national community. There's so many, right? All these newsletters
Yeah.
you can sign up for, but APhA in particular, I would say is a good one if you want to kind of spread to your fellow students to like, maybe sign up for that one. So you just get a quick overview of what type of pharmacy legislation is out there right now, what's going on, so you stay informed. And if you're particularly in Massachusetts, and maybe the MPHA one too, just so you're knowing more locally what's going on too. And I'll just kind of put in a little shout out about our own association, Mass Pharmacists Association. We've kind of updated our advocacy toolkit and legislative resources page, which Stephen, I think you've kind of cruised through. So you can always like spread the word to your chapter there that that's a good place to kind of start to get informed on like what's going on in the state and pharmacy in general. So once you're informed, then you know how you can make an impact. You'll always get calls for like, hey, we need your help in reaching out to this legislator. Go to our Grassroots Advocacy Center and do this. It's like literally 30 seconds, clicks and stuff and things like that, which make a big impact for a legislator when they see this repeatedly again and again around a specific bill or something like that. So that's how I would say for something tangible for you to take away is for you guys to get informed and maybe sign up for newsletters and of course stay involved like you are now. So
Yeah, I agree, because next year I'm getting involved in like about 4, maybe 5 organizations. So I definitely strongly recommend people just getting involved and just having your name heard here and there and then forming those relationships. But then once again, just thank you to Mr. Dinno and Dr. Kaur for spending the time to have this talk series. And I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you so much.